Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Dan, we've just witnessed an excellent advert for Premier League football. That's right, it was Exeter City 0, Harrogate Town 0. I said that the wrong way round. It was away at Harrogate. But it was a diabolical game of football.
Yeah, not a good watch, was it? Not one for the neutral fan.
No. Not one for any kind of fan of anything exciting.
No.
If you're like a train
If you-
spotter, you might be like, it was okay, but not much happened.
Yeah, I think you're giving them enough credit. What are they called? Train spotters? Have they got is there a nickname for them?
Yeah, dorks.
Dorks, yeah. But like what are they called? Twitchers. That's bird watchers, isn't it?
Yeah, not them. Do you think they're livid about that social media thing, Twitch?
Yeah, probably. No, I don't know. I think maybe Twitchers is a bit of a derogatory term.
Oh, is it? Well,
Yeah.
fair play. But whatever you're interested in, I can guarantee that football match would not have interested you. I mean, in a sense, I don't really have much to say about it. The things I've got to say about it are like, it rained a lot.
Yeah. Awful lot of rain.
An awful lot of rain. The commentary from Radio Yorkshire was, unique.
It's awful.
Awfully unique.
Like, obviously, pretty much everyone will have just witnessed that. If you're enough of a nerd to be listening to a podcast about Exeter City, or been enough of a nerd to watch them on iPhone, unless there was some reason why you couldn't, and you're actually using this as a way of getting some insight into that game. Let me tell you this: I don't know what his name was, but Barry something, the Radio Yorkshire or York commentator. And he sort of sounded like an 18th century mill owner or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think the highlight of his work was when the first interesting thing to happen all game, someone got sent off, and then City made some substitutions soon after, and he failed to mention either of those things because he was talking about the buses driving past. So, nice one, Baz.
Yeah. He was loving basically anything that was going on outside. I mean, who can blame him? Anything that was going on outside the stadium, he was finding more interesting. But to be fair, there was at one point, there's a load of flashing blue lights went past, like police cars or ambulance, and genuinely, that is more exciting. That would be, whatever that was more exciting than what was happening on the pitch.
Even if it was like like white collar crime, like tax evasion, I'd rather watch
that.
that.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch that.
Someone getting sort of, nicked for embezzling. I don't know.
Anyway, let's talk the match if we must. Did you know it was City had over 65% of possession?
Yep, sounds about right.
And yeah, I don't think their goalkeeper made a single save from an on-target shot.
No, according to the stats at the end, we had one shot on target. I don't remember it. So we started the game fairly similar lineup, didn't it? As to usual, but obviously Randell's still out, so that meant Key still on right wing with Caprice at right back.
Yeah.
And then we now found out that Jake Taylor was injured too, so he's not in the squad. So Nigel came in for him. I don't think, probably, I doubt either of those two would have made much difference, to be honest. You never know. Obviously, Randell Williams could play on his day, but it didn't look like a game for him, did it? Muddy pitch, driving rain, and Harrogate with 11 men behind the ball for most of the match.
Indeed. I mean, it's the kind of defensive play that fellow Yorkshireman Jeff Boycott would have been pleased with. It was, I think the one thing you can say about the two missing players is if you've got Williams at right wing, it means you've got Key at right back, which means you haven't got Jake Caprice, who hasn't looked too bad in general in the season, but he had a terrible game today. Like kicking it out when he was under no pressure, forgetting to run when the ball was passed to him.
I don't know if I fancy him as a fullback. I think maybe in that kind of wing back role when you've got someone, you've got three centre backs, someone coming across. Well, he bombs on, and then one of the three centre backs covers him, and he comes back and is part of a five when he's defending. I think maybe that might be a better position for him. But yeah, I don't really like him as a as a fullback. I don't think he even linked up that particularly well with Key down that right hand
No, he
side, did he? I
didn't.
think
No.
he sort of wants to go on those kind of like runs in behind, and so does Key, and it just look a bit of a mismatch to me. I know it's not that's only happening because of the injury to Williams, but it wouldn't be my first choice, and it didn't really seem to work
It's
tonight at all, did it?
given that we're now in the transfer window. I guess it's worth touching on that. Actually, it's hard to say which, if any, of the transfers from last summer have improved our team at all.
Wait, so who's that then? Sorry, what do you mean? Has someone just gone? So him and McArdle?
I mean, McArdle, Page.
Well, I'd say Page definitely has. I think he's a great player.
Well,
He's one of the
maybe.
only good players tonight, I would have said.
No, all right, maybe I'm being unfair, but I think McArdle and Caprice have not set the world alight. Aside from
No.
defensive frailties,
McArdle less surprising.
yeah. Maxted was probably one of the few players that would have been pleased with his performance. He didn't have a lot to do, but he made a marvellous save about 15 minutes. Go on.
Yeah, first half he actually did have a few things to do, didn't he, Max did? He made that one very good save, which in a way he caused by Max is making the decision tonight. It must be a decision to punch the ball rather than catching it, because he had two where there was no one around him, and he had just caught the ball. But obviously, because it's wet, he's gone like, no, I'm not taking the chance. And he's a bit of a spiller, isn't he?
He is a bit of a spiller.
But, they look like ones where you're like, okay, you can take the risk there, Johnny. It's just like, it's literally, there's no one challenging you for it, and it's not coming at you fast. But he decided to punch it, and that's what led to that chance where he then ended up making a really good save down to his right-hand side. And look, fair enough, you keep him out, but if he just caught the ball in the first place, he wouldn't have put himself in that position.
Well,
but yeah,
something to be said for that. That's true.
They had a couple other chances, didn't they, early on?
First half, that was quite busy on his near post, wasn't it?
And then we kind of after a little while, we kind of got ourselves back into the game a bit. We were able to get the balls out to the wings. Key was doing quite well down that right-hand side for a short spell, wasn't he? And we had a few chances in the first half. Nothing really, there was one for Josh Key himself, wasn't there, where he put it wide.
Well, that was probably the best chance, wasn't it? Landed at his feet, and he turned and put it wide.
Yeah. And I think I remember Bowman having a chance or something, did he not?
He did. Well? Joel Randall had a chance.
Archie put one over. Yes, Joel Randall. Archie put one over the bar.
Indeed. I think there were 4 chances first half, like clear-cut ones. I think probably Harrogate had something similar. And then we had another peak second half. I don't know, something around the 65th minute. Of course, the whole thing changed. I mean, I think probably our fate was compounded when they had Matey sent off. It's not often you see 2 yellow cards in the game that only goes to one person, is it? But that guy managed it.
I think the other thing was the second half, the rain came back again, didn't it? So it's absolutely sheeting it down. You could just, you could really see it on the screen on iFollow. Can you? It was like pouring.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Never much fun, is it?
No, indeed. I think had Key or Bowman or Randall or Collins even got one of those chances in the first half, you'd think like, well, that is just a 1-0. We're just gonna. It was almost like we played like we'd already done it. Because there was a very real lack of inspiration second half. And again, Matt Taylor's...
Harrogate, I think, were very happy to take a draw there. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard to play against a team like that.
Yeah.
And I remember texting you saying, like, this isn't, when they had the player sent off, so this isn't going to make a blind bit of difference.
No.
Because it didn't really affect their game plan, which was just like, we're just going to just stay as strong as we possibly can. Make it really, really hard for Exeter to pick through. And we weren't really worried about trying to score, like even when they had 11 players on the pitch, they were only really working on the idea of getting a counter-attack goal, weren't they? Despite what their commentators might have thought.
Yeah, old Matey again. Of course, it's easy to forget when away teams come to City and it's a club we're not familiar with. But when you saw their home ground, by the way, the wonderfully named Envirovent Stadium. But when you see a ground like that, you realise this is very much a non-league club that's come up. So you can see why. I mean, they'll be delighted with 4 points against a potential promotion candidate, won't they?
Well, totally. Their objective this season would have. They're not like Salford. I mean, it would have been stay in the league at any cost. And also, if you think it's actually kind of like, I imagine the difference between being in the Football League and being out of it is so big that it's not like being between League One and League Two, where of course there's a financial element to it, but essentially it's sort of like, you know, it's not such a big a difference as Conference and League Two, and so just to stay in the league will be a massive accomplishment for them.
Yeah, absolutely, and they played as such, and they'll be very pleased with that, I'm sure, especially with 10 men for the final 15. But City will.
Well, we did nothing once they had
No.
when they had a red card. Even like I said, the way they were playing didn't really allow us to. But it's not like we particularly picked up the tempo either, is it? Taylor made a few kind of lackluster, like for like subs, sort of fairly late on. You know, I think he brought off Lewis Page is very much being wrapped in cotton wool, isn't he, at the moment? I don't think he's sort of forcing Matt Taylor to make early substitutions, which we know he hates. He came off quite early. But then, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's the sort of like, I've run out of ideas, so I'm going to put Ben Seymour on the wing and a sub.
No, indeed.
Which is fine when you're 3-0 up. But...
Indeed. So that really was the game. Now, obviously, this should have been Saturday's game, so this should have been a Tuesday off. So again, it's kind of an unfortunate knock-on, rather than having games fairly well spread out until we hit this massive influx of matches. Again, now it's all crammed up again. And obviously Harrogate, I mean, they've set off now, haven't they? And they've got a really long drive home. So to come away with a point's a point, I realise that, but, you know...
it's disappointing considering that the amount of games we had in hand, and that not necessarily being a good thing, but also how all the other teams have been really kind of like handing us this opportunity to get ourselves back into contention, and then we just don't take it. You know what I mean? Like at the weekend, we didn't play. Everyone else around us seemed to draw. I mean, it's sort of been going that way, and we just couldn't capitalise on it at all. And I do wonder that kind of like, I do worry, that like you have these gaps, and then, you know, we were kind of a team kind of in really good goal scoring form up until Christmas. And then it can only take a little kind of sort of anything to at this level to kind of like knock your form out of whack, and suddenly you can't buy a goal, can you? I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's that, 0-0 away to Harrogate. I want to give special mention to perhaps the greatest misreading of an advertising board that I've seen in some time. It was me that misread it.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
from you. Sorry, I thought you were going to me, our friend Barry again.
Oh, no, sadly not. It was me and my poor eyesight. But what the advertising hoarding actually said was Summers Inman, which I think was a car dealership. Summers Inman. I couldn't see it, and I was like, what the hell is this? What's this guy? Who's this advertising? Some sort of mosque leader who's into Weight Watching. I thought it said Slimmer's Imam, but sadly it didn't. So, I really look like it, Slimmer's Imam. Yeah. So, you know...
So it's sort of like Imam who's done well at losing weight, or as he started up his own kind of weight loss place, perhaps in the kind of function room of a mosque. Yes.
Perhaps so. I mean, you know, like vicars, imams, most religious leaders, they wear those very kind of like baggy, you know, priestly garbs. You don't know what's going on underneath there. I think there could be a real market for, like, you know.
But in a way, surely it's like quite forgiving. It's sort of like if you put on a few extra pounds, it doesn't really matter because you've got to wear this kind of moo anyway. So like you can't really.
Yeah.
I'm not slagging off imams. I don't mean all of them. They all wear them.
Oh yeah, I think the Christian church is more moo than down the mosque. Yeah. Anyway, Slimmer's Imam. So get in touch if anyone's interested in that service. I can set you up.
Yeah, you know, from these kind of little, the penicillin was found by accident. You know, so
this could be a similar kind of innovation.
I want to give a little shout out during this game to apparently Harrogate's sub goalkeeper.
Yeah,
is apparently called Melvin Minter, and I thought that fit.
Melvin Minter.
I thought it was worth a mention.
Absolutely, the original Eminem. So yeah, I mean that's good. I mean we really had to take the highlights where we could find them, didn't we, tonight? So We'll be back.
Yeah, I won't be watching the highlights when the highlights package comes out on the Exeter
I think there's a
City's
joke.
YouTube.
There's a joke about that, isn't there?
I won't be watching it.
Did you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. People do that. All you've got is highlights. With this, yes, it's been a rubbish game. Yes, people probably want to forget about it. But, at least we can talk about kind of like how, advertising hoardings and, I don't know, Melvin Minter and whatever else, like the kind of like the whole mise en scène of the match.
Indeed so. If you're interested in this, I'd imagine that's exactly why you've tuned into the Big Bang Theory podcast. We're not here for the hard-hitting facts. We're here for the frivolous nonsense. So with that in mind, we'll be back shortly to talk more frivolry. Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast, where ITN News are quaking in their boots. Dan, there's some big news, though. Obviously, we're in the transfer window.
Yep.
And City supposedly have made a signing.
Well, so you say, but I've not seen anything about this.
And
so I don't know.
Let me tell you why. In the era of COVID security, in the era of GDPR, in the era of Brexit and having to make up all our new rules all over again, the story is we've signed someone, a centre-back, but we can't announce it because they're currently in self-isolation.
What difference does that make?
I'm not sure.
Presumably, does that mean he's travelled here illegally and we've got to cover it up?
Maybe. Came in under a blanket.
Like a criminal.
That blanket's now to be burnt. This is the
story.
story.
A paedophile. Even caught.
No. You're casting aspersions where there are none. I'm merely saying that we're not allowed to say it yet. And if that's true, the rumour going round is Alan Stubbs' son.
Right.
Sam Stubbs.
Okay.
So he's a Fleetwood player, and supposedly we've bought him.
Weird.
By the way, my sources on this are very tenuous, but that seems to be what's going on.
So you mentioned this to me the other day, and I was surprised that Alan Stubbs. I wasn't surprised Alan Stubbs had a son. I'm not casting judgment on a man's appearance
or virility
to find a mate. But what I mean is, I sort of checked with my source, which I won't go into details, but it's not as reliable as it once was, and they didn't know anything about it.
Really?
It just said it was just some talk on a website. I don't know if I won't name.
I'm all up for some talk on a website because it's often proved me solid.
Yeah, maybe, and maybe he'll be proved wrong, and they sort of, like I said, not as a strong a source as it used to be. But yeah, it'd be good though, wouldn't it? Alan Stubbs is done. I mean, that's enough for me, really. In a new signing, something like that.
Sure. Well, yeah. So
if it's just like when we announced Rory McArdle, if it turned out that Rory McArdle's dad was sort of like, I don't know, famous as well. Like, oh, did you know that he's you're going to sign this guy Rory McArdle from Scunthorpe, and I've done, oh yeah, whatever, sounds rubbish. But, oh no, yeah, but his dad was, I don't know, Billy Ray Cyrus,
Rory McArdle's
Cyrus's
Miley Cyrus's brother. Well, you wouldn't know, would you?
I don't know, just something interesting about him. I would have been like, right, okay, I like this guy. No, I don't care if he's maybe a bit past his best.
Well, so we signed a player, and his dad's that famous Slim Imam. Actually, he's coming in.
Do you know what? Alan Stubbs was a decent player. I remember him well. Sam Allardyce's Bolton.
So the rumour is, if it is this fella Stubbs, obviously Fleetwood have changed. Joe Barton's gone. This guy's been injured. So, you live and die by the sword as an investigative journalist. I wouldn't know because I've never been one. But, yeah, that's the current rumour.
Well, what are we then? If we're, what are we and what is this, if not investigative journalism?
That we've been tapped up for Panorama listeners.
Got an iPhone, haven't you?
So you need.
Right, then you're investigating.
I search things on Twitter and then I tell people it's true.
In the old days, that would have been much better investigating than any of the professionals were doing. If you'd had access to your smartphone before they were, you know, available.
True. I didn't. I was behind the
Don't do
curve.
yourself down like that. You know?
Thank you. So watch out, Louis Through. Watch out, Adam Curtis. Here I
Watch
come.
out, Donald McIntyre.
Yeah, watch out, all of you. So that's that. So that's the rumor. But I believe there are strong suggestions that someone is coming in. Whether it's who we've said or whether it's someone else, we'll wait and see. I mean, I would hope. The more I think about it, the more I think. Although our defence is dodgy, we're not going to get anyone that's definitely going to sort that out. You know, Virgil van Dijk's injured. John Stones is committed to Manchester City. Given the likelihood that we could get a defender that would automatically improve our entire defence, i.e. unlikely, what we actually need is a striker that we can bring off the bench who will get goals. You know, I don't expect every game. I don't expect every other game, really, but...
Yeah, I think what we do need a defender, yeah, but I think it's not... The chance of us getting what we need, like you said, in the January transfer window are unlikely.
And we got loads of defenders. We've literally got loads of defenders.
Well, yeah, we haven't got. We're shy of centre back for sure. We've got, we are. But I mean, are we not? Here's Sweeney, and maybe we're not.
I think we are. I think we are. I think if anything happened to any of them, we'd be worried.
I agree with you. I think we need a striker as well. But if he's not going to give a Jose a go, which he's clearly not, then we need to get a striker, don't we? But in that case, we need to, but there's no way we're getting a new striker before we get a Jose off the books. It's just not going to happen, is it?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, there's rumours, not real rumours, but like Stockley's been. Have you heard this? Stockley's been let go by Preston North End, or rather, they've said he can go for free. If people will take on his full wage.
He ain't coming here.
No, I realise he's not. But, that's like the...
I think he's on about £5,000 a week, isn't he?
Some large amount that we definitely couldn't afford. But,
it's not that nice down here.
There's a real desire, isn't there, to just... It's not that I don't expect... Obviously, I don't expect Stockley. I don't expect someone that will keep Bowman out of the starting lineup. But it would... Obviously, in normal life, a Jose's this person. But... someone like that, who we know can get a goal, who knows where the goal is going to cause trouble for defences in a different way than Bowman, Fisher, Matt J, who genuinely Matt Taylor would feel like giving half an hour to. That's what we need. Because a game like tonight, which, by the way, there'll be other games like that this season, all the relegation fodder teams, of which there's quite a lot.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. I think the problem there, really, is it's not so much that there's no one on... There isn't the right person on the bench. It's that Matt Taylor's reluctant to give people that amount of time as a substitute anyway. Look at tonight. He brought on Nick with about 5 minutes to go when Nigel could have come off probably before, but definitely at the minute they went down to 10 men, you go, okay, well, we don't need him then here. I mean, I'm not slagging off Nigel, but that's just the job he does. It's no longer needed in this game. So just bring Law on, someone who can, we know at least has got the best chance of being able to unlock their stupid defense. So what he obviously doesn't do that. So if we had some other strike on the bench, would he bring Bowman off at 65 or 60 minutes if he hadn't scored, and then bring someone else and change it? I don't know. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's a curious policy, especially with the old 5-sub thing we can do now. There it is. So that's the only transfer talk I've got for you. In the meantime, the season marches on. We've got Stevenage Saturday, and they've been at the old checkbook.
Have they?
Spending the Burger King cash.
And the Burger King bucks.
Yeah, they have.
How many whoppers are worth have they spent?
Well, they've got themselves a right old whopper in Luke Norris, who
really
could do a job. I mean, he was fairly redundant against us. We played him quite a lot recently, haven't we? Colchester. But in
doing the old League Two musical chairs, isn't he?
I would say so. So Stevenage currently they're probably going to be all right. They probably got away with it because...
Well, there's always someone worse than you in League Two, as we know, isn't there?
Always someone worse. So they're currently in 22nd. But Luke Norris isn't the only player they brought in. So they've been right at it. They've been up and down the motorway with the old contactless payments. And then it's Morecambe Tuesday, and they're right old promotion rivals. They sit in 8th at the minute. They just drew with Walsall tonight, 1-1. Stephen, I think they had the game called off tonight, didn't they?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
So that's where we are. City sitting 10th, and like we said, a lot of teams reluctant to win. It's not, no one's running away with it, even though we're dropping right away because of games cancelled. Teams aren't making.
No, they're not.
They're not. So there's still.
Cambridge is still top, but they've played more games than everybody else, and they're still only 1 point up above. I mean, that's what I mean. What can you do? We're not as good as a lot of the teams in this division, so we can't expect to be right up there. But we did have games in hand of these, and in theory, on paper, we could have gone up to. I think maybe got ourselves into the automatics if we maybe not just this game, but if we'd kind of been winning all of our games in hand.
Indeed.
But,
So there we sit in 10th. I think it's not that we're not good, and obviously sometimes we played some really lovely football this season, but we're inconsistent. And I think, you're right, because of Taylor's reluctance, if a team's worked us out, either before the game or during the game, we're going to struggle to get anything more than a point at best. So
at this level, it just seems like it's such a confidence game, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And we've had, luckily, at the start of this season, we had all these youngsters who are so high on confidence and were sort of just like absolutely loving it, running riot on the league, looking like the best players around. And then, that gets knocked a little bit and you can't keep up. And it's absolutely nothing to worry about off mark. But, the fact that Josh Key and Joel Randall have had a few off games and, what's weird is that they were playing so well, so consistently for so long. That's and Sparks as well. That's the position we've been put in. That's just the way it went this season because of a bunch of factors that we know about. We can't expect them to keep up that level of form. It's just like it was. All we can do is hope that they can get some of it back at some point.
I mean, as we
if
know,
they don't, then
yeah. Well, as we know, the games come thick and fast. So if the confidence does return soon, really quickly, we'll see. We win 3 games in a row, we're right back in it. And if the confidence is high, we push right on, don't we? So that's the thing in our favour, I guess. And because they're not experienced, then this will all be kind of new to them every time. So a drop in form or whatever, there's some benefit, I think, probably to no fans. Like we've always said, if you can spend a year working out what kind of footballer you are, how you respond to strife and to games like tonight, then all the better for it because there's not the added pressure of literally a new all-seater stadium at Harrogate Town would be the 3-piece suite delivered on Monday, wouldn't it? But it's not a bad thing that they can go back to St James Park and no one they can't hear what people are saying. Like, stay off Twitter, lads. I don't think people are being overly critical. I just mean their confidence has got no reason not to return. There are no exterior factors.
And it's not because and that definitely wouldn't help, would it, if you're getting stick from the crowd and stuff. But I think it's hard enough when you're kind of yourself that you missed a good chance or that you haven't in a few games or whatever, or you are at fault for a goal or something. So, and it's bound to happen, like I said, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
And these guys probably wouldn't have been playing as much this season if it wasn't for there being a weird year. So I don't think it's any cause of concern really, apart from the fact that there's just things that maybe we have to lower our expectations for this season because of these factors.
Yeah. I mean you alluded to it last week. I think that obviously we'll all just be delighted to get back there, whatever division we're in next year. I mean, I think there's probably there's probably scope to get back this year, actually.
Puts it in perspective a bit, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah, it really does. Really does. And, positives, if we're still in League 2 next year, it looks like Torquay might well be up with us. League 2, still League 2. No one.
They'll be pleased about that, won't they?
They will. Argyle maybe as well. It could be the old Devon Holy Trinity. But we'll see. It really felt tonight like we were playing Tiverton Town. I mean, I got a question for you. What was the double red about? I didn't care for it.
Oh, the kit,
Yeah.
yeah. We've nearly done every kit combination now, haven't we, this season?
Yeah,
I
we
don't
have.
remember us ever doing that before. They got more strict on it, the league or something.
I mean, my understanding is the ref decides on the day.
Yeah, but there must be some, they say there's a new directive.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never known it this year, like before this season. Obviously here and there you have to change, you have to wear a bit of weird kit together because of someone's forgotten something or you haven't realised. But it's been, this is the third time, I think, isn't it? It
Curious.
is. It's the third time, and so red socks, red shorts, and then the red and white stripes, almost not even striped home shirt. So they're almost all red.
Yeah, it was.
Who plays in that? Whose home strip's that? I'm trying
Ajax.
to
It felt
think.
like Ajax.
Yeah, nearly. Yeah, I feel like there's one of those teams, like one of the teams or something that I've got that exact flow. Anyway,
I
it
mean,
looked weird. Didn't like it.
the colour of the red on our shirts this year is almost like the plum tomato red. So it almost felt, I don't know, exotic. Almost felt like I was
Yeah,
drinking like a Bloody Mary.
didn't look good. Didn't look good. I don't think. Didn't look
No.
good as a regular.
And we didn't perform
But
well.
then they had black. I think Harrogate had black shorts and black socks, which is the same as we have. So, but we have black and white socks. So it's pretty picky ref, isn't it?
There we are. Who knows?
Maybe he's just kind of got. Maybe it's always that same ref who's making us change kits,
Plausible.
and he's just got like ballets or something.
I'd be interested to know, listeners, what's your best? How do you best wear your Exeter City wear? Is your football shirt just for gardening? Do you wear the shorts when you?
I actually genuinely need an answer to this because I haven't bought an Exeter City shirt for many a year, and it's partly because I just think, like, when am I going to wear it?
Yeah.
Like I haven't got any kind of reason to wear it.
Do you know what I like best? It's not something I'd ever do.
I do have some gloves which I wear quite often.
I would wear. No, I wouldn't wear. I would never wear it. But I do like to see it. Exeter City home shirt, blazer.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
It happens, but not often enough. If you're someone who wears that, let us know.
I can picture someone doing the kind of like sports coat, I think you call it, a bit more of like a casual blazer.
Oh yeah.
With jeans or something. I can see a sort of like a middle-aged bloke wearing that. I'd like to see that shirt, smart like suit jacket, smart trousers, just a suit, but instead of a shirt and tie, City shirt.
Nice.
And do you know what shirt I'm picturing?
Which one?
The purple and green one, or purple and yellow one, whoever it is.
I like it.
I'd
Gaudy.
love to see that. That's what I would think. I've just answered my own question. That's how I'd wear an Exeter as part of a suit.
Well, sure. Pioneer it. Next, I tell you what. When we're back, that can be your first outing.
Yeah, I'll give myself away though, won't I?
Oh, yeah,
I'll be the only one there wearing a suit.
Is that guy, look, he's worn a suit with his City shirt on. Well, let us know. I'd really like to know. And you can let us know in all the normal ways, of course. Email, we're bigbankpod@gmail.com. On Twitter, we're @bigbankpod. And on Facebook, we're the Big Bank Theory Podcast. We'll be back next week after the Tuesday game again with some more top tips. We'll let you know how the Slimmers Imam's getting on. We'll let you know how Dan's quest to stylishly wear a home shirt goes. And maybe we'll actually have seen some kind of a football match in the meantime. But who knows? I wouldn't guarantee it.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Hopefully we'll have 2 games to talk about next time, but you never know. And even if they're anything like tonight, will they be worth talking about?
No, we'll be talking about the blue flashing lights again, like some kind
You
of.
have to you won't know this. We've got an emergency folder for when a game's so bad, right? So you have to bring out these emergency topics. One of them is talk about wearing an Exeter City shirt with a suit.
Yeah, we've really scraped that folder dry.
Believe it or not, listeners, that wasn't preconceived.
Imagine
idea.
We didn't workshop that one out.
Come up with that tonight.
Well, thanks for listening. In spite of this complete drivel, we always appreciate it. We'll see you next week. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.